Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy Mr. Box Office from Mr. Box Office TV, back with another show for you today. And on the show today, I want to speak about why Spurs fans do not rate Thomas Frank. Yeah, I'm saying it because it's quite clear. And welcome to the show of shows. This is going to be a very short, sharp show from your main event, your professor of truth and entertainment, the ratings killer. The person that you don't want to hear in the Marmite of the Tottenham fan base. And if you don't know, get to know. And I think people need to get to know our football club and our fans right now. Because when I look at some of the stuff that I see online right now, and again, like I say, I'm one of those guys now that's is in the shadows. Someone that's trying to do things regularly now for the viewers, because the viewers always call for the main event to really have his say, unleash, and with that, you see, there's a lot in online right now, especially after the game yesterday, which people say that it doesn't matter, but if it didn't matter, you wouldn't be watching the game. Whether it's a friendly or not, you wouldn't be watching the game if it didn't matter. You know what I mean? You wouldn't do a watch along if it didn't matter. So it's like when people say the game don't matter, well, don't watch the game then. It's quite simple. It's quite simple. You know, it's like people, and I won't name names because, you know, I will tell them to their face. Sean telling me, oh, I'm getting wound up on my watch up, or getting wound up on my watch along because, oh, these Tottenham fans are going so mad. They're going, what they're going mad about? It's only a friendly. Yeah, but you're doing a watch along, mate. So it made you do a watch along. You know what I mean? Like, am I stupid or am I silly? Am I being silly or something? You know what I mean? So Spurs fans saying, "Oh, the game don't matter." Well, you're doing a watch along, so it obviously did matter. You get what I'm saying? So you know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to say. So, but you know, big up to Sean, by the way. Spurs talk show. You don't need to tell me because I mean, obviously everyone should know about him anyway. He's always on. You can see it clearly online. But the point is, though, right? Is that you know, yesterday was quite a big proof what I said in my last video. Why Thomas Frank needs to prove himself. And when people said to me, "Oh, he's only had a few months. Oh, he's only had a month," I said, "Well, sorry. Unfortunately, reality-wise, the way that we act, the way we have been the last how many years now, and the fact that we only look managers only last, which is a fact now, only a certain number of managers, which I don't want to go over it again because I'm repeating myself again. So I do apologize to the viewers that have seen me before. That you know, we've only had 3 managers that have lasted for more than 18 months. That was an anomaly because we only focus, our focus is the director of football. The director of football is the main point. That's why Johan Lang is the main focus at Tottenham Hotspur right now for the business that we're doing at the moment. So when you look at all of that and the fact that we sacked the last manager, again, didn't like him, wasn't interested in him. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. No, who won the trophy and got us into Europe. Then you bring in Thomas Frank that people were half against and then were not half against and then for him. Some people were for him that didn't like Ange Postecoglou, and people that were against him because they liked Ange Postecoglou. You're seeing what's happening right now. So anything that goes against Thomas Frank, which what happened yesterday, which we'll get onto the game yesterday. I didn't watch the whole game. I've got to be honest. I only watched the first half. I watched the highlights. Me just out the bat right now, I think we're very unlucky. I'll be honest with you. There's obvious things that we need to work on and obvious things that we need to get players for. It's quite obvious. right? I said it how many times, and you saw me on George show. Big up to George, Do Her Diaries. You saw me when I told you I didn't rate Alderbear. People were having a go at me saying, "Oh, why you don't rate Alderbear? Why do you not rate Alderbear? Alderbear's this and that, and he's class and all that. He's getting good. He's got past players." What did you do against Bayern Munich? Everyone's telling me, "Oh, I don't rate Burval. Don't watch Mr. Box Office because you don't rate Burval. You don't rate Burval. You know, I don't rate Burval." What did you do against Bayern Munich? When it needs to step up, when he needs to step up, what happened? Mattis Tell, oh, he was good against Newcastle. He held up the ball. He did this. What did you do? That's why I say I don't do backups. Those are backups. And then people have a go at Newcastle because they're putting their business out in the open, in public, when they're going for players that are actually going to improve their squad. What are we doing? We've only got Kudos and Paulinho. And Kudos needs to improve. He's okay. You can see there's something there. Paulinho needs game time, but is what we needed. But this is the point. This is the point. Thomas Frank knew exactly what he was getting himself into. He knew exactly what he was getting himself into when he went into the job at Tottenham Hotspur. He spoke to Johan Lang, who he previously worked with before. So he knew exactly, and he's seen everything in the public domain about what happened with Tottenham Hotspur for a very, very long time now. So he's seen it. He's seen it all. So for me, he knows what he needs to do. He needs to prove himself. But the fact is, at the moment, we can just go back to what the title of the show is. Spurs fans just do not rate him. And that's why he needs to prove himself. It's quite clear. It's quite clear that he needs to prove himself. Because Tottenham fans will only change. And he's got practically 18 months. Maybe even 12 months in exact. Because, unfortunately, you can't keep the bolt closed, unfortunately, with this. So when Tottenham fans, and I'll be honest with you, I like them, all five of them. Johnny talks a lot of crap as far as I'm concerned, but, he's a good guy. That Spurs 5, that's why whenever Lubo sends me the link, I'm saying, Lubo, I ain't watching it, mate. Because if I watch it and you say something rubbish, I want to come on and debate you. And I can't do that, bro. I need to focus on my own show, bro. You know what I mean? So I'd just rather watch it on replay. Because if I watch it on replay, at least then I can stop myself from wanting to banter you lot. You know what I mean? Because, honestly, some of the stuff that you hear from those people, just honestly, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? So that's what I say sometimes. So, but yeah, it's just some of the stuff I heard. It's like saying, well, Spurs fans just need to be patient. Don't panic. They're going to be like that because they don't rate Thomas Frank. Simple. Right? You can't tell someone you can't change someone's opinion overnight about Thomas Frank. You know what I mean? If you didn't rate Thomas Frank in the beginning, you're not going to rate him after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. You're not going to do it. You're just not going to do it. It doesn't work like that. And this is the thing. I mean, I see people in the comments right now. There's one person, big up to real Kevin K. He says, Ange should have stayed instead of Frank. This is the proof. This is the proof. Big up to him. Welcome to the channel. Big up to Ghosted, by the way. Big up to George F. George F says here, why can't we have Max, Skelly, Nuri, Saka come through the academy? Well, I'll tell you why. Why we can't have those sort of academy players, because the academy's in a mess. I don't think we know whether we're using the academy to bring in players for the first team, or we're doing it to sell them on to make money. I think that's where we're at the moment, because when you look at some of the rumors about some of the players that we let go, that are now looking for loans right at the moment, who need to be sold, like Scarlett. Someone else can help me out here. Right? I don't think we know actually whether we want to actually bring these players up in the first team. I mean, George Albert, who was well publicized, that had, well publicized that we had, that we signed him a new contract. Well, he's just gone on loan now. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And big up to Ghosted. Big up to Ghosted. I like Ghosted because he doesn't agree with me, and I like that. I need more people in the comments that does this. By the way, guys, this is going to be a short, sharp show. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be a short, sharp show because unfortunately, you can use your imagination. Why it's got to be a short, sharp show? I'm not in trouble, but you can use your imagination. Why? What normal people do on a Friday? Why I've got to do a short, sharp show. But people need to stop blaming the managers and start blaming Daniel Levy, always leaving us short. The only thing I would do, okay, Ghosted. The reason why I say, okay, I look at it like this. The blaming managers because they're the face of the whole thing at the moment, right? In front of the camera, right? But the main thing at the moment is that it's more to do with the director of football. When you look at the clubs that are stable, like your Brightons, yeah, they're not successful. Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City, yeah, they've got money. They have got money. Well, not so much Liverpool. Liverpool have done it the right way. They've done it structured and they've done it organically, I'll say. Right? Not so much Newcastle because they ain't got a director of football at the moment. And I think that's why. I think that's the main problem at the moment, their director of football. I think that's where their problems have been lying in terms of, Eddie Howe's got more control over what sort of players they're going to get and stuff. And I think that's where, they need a director of football to take control of that, and they work in together. I don't think it's about them being ambitious, because some of the players that they went for, and I think this is where I listened to yesterday to some people, and it's like, Tottenham fans are, Newcastle being, too over ambitious, and I'm like, no disrespect, but the Lap is not over ambitious. The guy that went to Chelsea, the Brazilian, that's not over ambitious. You know what I mean? Sesko maybe, but everyone knew about Sesko. Trafford, that's not over ambitious. I mean, I'm not being funny. I mean, what are we doing here? It's just like I don't know what to say. In Bremo, that's not over ambitious. It's just he wanted to go Man United. You know what I mean? It's just like, what do you want? They wanted to get players that are going to make the squad better. That's compete to get into the squad. That's what Newcastle wanted to do because they're going into the Champions League. That's the point. We're not doing that. We've only got a few players that go into the first team at the moment, at this minute. But we've lost a few players already from injury at the moment. So, that's the thing. That's the point. That's the point I'm making. But it's not blaming. It's not. But going back to Ghosted, it's not blaming managers at the end of the day. At the end of the day, when you look at facts about our club, average tenure of a manager at Tottenham Hotspur is 18 months, right? And if you don't believe me, right, your favourite your favourite, Sean, said it himself. Right? I said it more longer before him. Right? Well, he said it before. So when he says, "Oh, I'm getting wound up by these Tottenham fans and all that," well, he said that 18 months is the tenure of Tottenham Hotspur managers. So that's the remnants of a fan base of, are used to a manager only being there 18 months. Right? So at the end of the day, if Tottenham Hotspur had a proper director of football that was stable, like some of these clubs that they've got at the moment, Liverpool, Liverpool, you've got Arsenal at the moment. Obviously, they lost their director of football, but they've got a new one in, and that looks to be fruitful at the moment for them. You see Brighton at the moment, and even when they lose people, they get other people in, and it just is seamless. It's seamless. Brentford, I know they lost their manager in Thomas Frank, but they know what they want to do, where they want to move forward. So this is the thing. This is the thing. And for me, when you look at the game yesterday, I think what the problem was, I look at that midfield. It looks very functional. I think that was the problem. It's been looking functional for a long time. And it looks like a midfield that just needs a lot of creativity. Players that want to get past their man. We need players that are actually experienced and able to just get going straight away. That's what it needs. That's why I say we need a Grealish. And unfortunately, because we lost Maddison, I even take a Sancho right now. Big up to everybody who's in the chat, by the way. 27 of you, which is mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. I do really apologize for the fact that this is a short show. I do apologize. I would love to do a long show, but I can't. Unfortunately, everyone can use their own imagination. Why? I've got to do that. But big up to everybody. Big up to Kate Richardson, by the way. Big up to Matt Coppins. Big up to you, Matt. Big up to you. Thank you for coming on the show last time. Thank you. Big up to Corey Boy. Big up to you. I hope you're doing well. Ange should have stayed. Are you on crack? 22 losses in the league. Just avoided relegation, and you wanted to keep Ange. If so, you clearly don't get football in results based on the game. No. Listen, I absolutely agree with you. I'm not saying that Ange. This is the problem. It's got nothing to do with the fact that I couldn't stand Ange. You know that, Corey. I don't think anybody. Don't think I've changed my mind. I don't think I would never want Ange back. No, honestly not. But unfortunately, we're at a stage, unfortunately, that Tottenham fans do not rate Thomas Frank. They don't rate him, because if they did rate him, the overreaction wouldn't happen. If after every single friendly, they were just suppressed. That was the problem. People suppressed them, because results suppressed it. People kept on suppressing it. But unfortunately, if a bad result happens, it will come out again. Because if you don't rate a manager, you just don't rate him. You need to see something. You need to see a few things. The manager needs to do something out of the ordinary to get you to change your mind. That's just how the way it is. That's just reality. You know what I mean? And the thing is, though, like I said, there are people that didn't like Ange, like myself, right? That said, I'm happy he's gone, but I'm like I said in my last video, and go and watch it. Go and watch my video, right? Why I said Ange's Thomas Frank has got 18 months. This is the last video uploaded. I've got no problem with Thomas Frank. I've got absolutely no problem with him whatsoever. I think he's got some good potential. Justin Cochrane looks interesting, very interesting. I've got, I think it looks very good potential. But I'm not going to be deluded and think this is going to be smooth sailing when your last manager won a trophy, right? There was a lot of Tottenham fans that wanted him to stay, right? And those Tottenham fans are saying, well, you sacked a manager that won a trophy, and you got this guy in that hasn't played 2 games a week in Europe. That is not any better than Ange Postecoglou. So why am I on board with this? So they're going to be against Thomas Frank. They're still going to be against Thomas Frank because they're going to be still angry about Ange Postecoglou. And if they don't rate Thomas Frank, they just don't rate Thomas Frank. So you're going to get this every single time we lose a game. And if we're not doing well, if we do get thrashed in a game, maybe in the Super Cup, I don't know. Fans are going to go against Thomas Frank. That's just natural. That's what is going to happen. So that's why I said Thomas Frank needs to prove himself. That's why. And the example is, like I said, if I do apologize to the viewers that I'm repeating myself again, Pochettino, Mauricio Pochettino. Not a lot. I didn't rate Pochettino coming in. I wanted Frank de Boer. He proved himself after 1.5 years. I fell in love with him. Martin Jol. Thought he looked interesting. Proved himself after 1 year. Villas Boas. Thought he's a Chelsea reject. Proved himself after 1 year. But look what happened the second season. Sometimes, unfortunately, and it's just by how it is, history, a top manager, whether you like him or not, whether he's had short time or not, has to prove himself. He has to prove himself, unfortunately. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is, really, unfortunately, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's how it is. You've got to prove yourself. And unfortunately, the proof it starts from when he comes into the club. So unfortunately, I have to disagree with you, Corey. Big up to you, bro. Big up to you. Thank you for your comment. Like I said, I love the fact that people are coming in and don't agree with me, but unfortunately, the evidence is there. And when people say we need to stop panicking, they're not panicking, mate. They just don't rate Thomas Frank. Simple. You just don't want to hear it because you want an easy life. You want to be the poster boy of the Tottenham fan base. Some people want to be the poster boys of the Tottenham fan base to say, "Oh, don't panic." And you see a lot of Spurs content saying, "Don't panic. It's a meltdown." Well, if you're an apprentice, I expect that from you. But if you're not an apprentice, I expect you to actually see for what it is. But, this is what happens. This is what's going on at the moment. You see what I'm saying? And this is, unfortunately, people just don't get it. And this is the thing. And now the whole thing with Maddison being out. That's the thing. And it's no surprise. And like I said, the game yesterday, I think we're unlucky. The only the problem is our strike force is absolutely bang average. But I told you that. I told you it was going to be bang average. But, Grealish is not good enough for us. Garnacho's not good enough for us. I'll take them right now in front of those players right now. It definitely does better for our squad at the moment. Because who else is available? Who's got Champions League experience? Grealish. I'll take Grealish right now. Paqueta. Take Paqueta right now. I need players that are going to compete with that squad. Because I'm sorry, I'm fed up with seeing Bentancur in the midfield because he's just, he just gets on my nerves. Honestly, he gets on my nerves. But big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everybody who's watching. Come on, man. Frank has the hands tied behind his back. No. You're not understanding me, Corey. You're not understanding me, Corey. The point I'm making is, Corey, right? And this is where you big up to you, but you're not listening. This is the problem. You need to listen. if Spurs fans didn't rate Thomas Frank from the beginning, they're not going to just be on board straight away. Right? It's not going to just take them a few weeks to say, you know what, I'll give him a chance. No, they're going to be waiting and sitting there thinking, okay, let's see what this guy's got. Let's see what this guy's got. And then it will take something to say, you know what? Now I'm getting it now. He's got me here. He's got me here. Yeah? He's got me here. Yeah? At the moment, they're just not there with him. They're not there with him at all. You know, they're not there. They're not there. They're not there for him whatsoever at the moment. Their mindset is sitting there thinking, who's this guy? Who is this guy? You know what I mean? But this is the problem. This is the problem, mate. Big up to everybody in the chat. Right, okay, but I'm gonna have to wrap up the show. Got boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We will do a show later on today, hopefully. Yeah, well, hopefully around lunchtime, hopefully. You know, to talk about the aftermath of the game, and also we got obviously the build up to the Super Cup next week on Wednesday. So we've got a lot to still talk about. We also obviously got to talk about what we're going to do without Maddison, because we clearly need him. And I was laughing at some of the stuff about, oh, well, Kulusevski's back. Okay, right, okay. If we're going to do that, I just do not rate that guy. And honestly, like some of the excuses I hear about this guy, I mean, honestly, yeah, he's just not a creator. He holds up the ball too much. But I mean, again, you know, maybe Thomas Frank can do something with him, but we have to wait and see. But big up to everybody in the chat. Thank you for watching. Thank you for contributing. We will hopefully do a show soon later on today. Big up to everybody who's watching. Big up to Corey Boy. Big up to Jack Bain. Big up to you. Big up to Ghosted. Big up to Kat Ritson. Big up to Nicholas Brown. Big up to Corey Boy. Big up to you, Corey Boy. Big up to Corey. Big up to you. Big up to Phil. Big up to Terry Shea. Big up to you. Big up to Huddles Wandle. Big up to you. And like always, as we wrap up this show, on the day night before, where Tottenham fans are showing their true colours right now, they just do not rate Thomas Frank, and they just do not rate him at all. And it's rattling a lot of people that like Thomas Frank. And on the day where I'm now saying, why do we not? People said to me that they didn't rate Jack Grealish. Well, you really want him now, don't you? Because you can see that we need him badly, don't you? So I wasn't deluded, was I, in the first place, wasn't I? Take that. And as always, like we do, to wrap up this show, as we say, if you didn't know, get to know, support your boy, Mr. Box Office, subscribe and like, and come on, you Spurs. And we're out.